Hey guys, it's Hiddenpurple, back again for more game discussion. This week, I'll be talking about the recently announced Outer Worlds by Obsidian Entertainment. I'll also be talking about the recent Microsoft Obsidian buyout, or merger, or whatever corporate jargon they're going with. I know I've been on a bit of a different kick lately, but as I know someone will say something, you know who you are. I'm still working on Andromeda and I will get to it, I promise. But it will be a bit on that one. So for now, until I get that done, I'll be talking game news. I think I might actually just do game news in between reviews so that I can more easily tackle larger games without having to try and get through the game in a week. So, the Microsoft Obsidian deal. I saw the video that Obsidian uploaded on the subject about 20 minutes after they launched it, and I was almost clawing my eyes out by the end. Talking about being part of the Microsoft family and all the positives this will do for the company, I was very skeptical. I've been around long enough to see beloved developers get bought out by big publishers, so it was pretty concerning seeing Obsidian developers spouting out the same old scripted garbage that's usually provided by the publisher. Not long after, though, I got some news that kinda set me at ease. My roommate told me about a Sea of Thieves developer update where Joe Neate, Sea of Thieves executive producer, talked about a meeting he'd had with the heads of Xbox. They had come to Rare to learn about how Rare had made Sea of Thieves so successful within the community. Him and I took this to mean that Microsoft is acquiring the niche developers like Obsidian, Undead Labs, and Ninja Theory so that they can make a wider variety of niche games rather than trying to make games that are for everybody that wind up being for nobody. I'm looking at you, Destiny 2. This doesn't prove anything with certainty, and Microsoft could turn around and shit on every one of these developers, but I'm going to remain hopeful for now. I'll leave a link to the developer update where I saw this in the description, and I'll also leave a link to an earlier article about Microsoft's previous acquisitions and the creation of a brand new studio dubbed The Initiative. This should give you some more insight on the topic and hopefully set you at ease as it did me. Now back to Obsidian and their next project. For those of you who aren't familiar with Obsidian, they're responsible for games like Pillars of Eternity, Fallout New Vegas, Knights of the Old Republic 2, and many more. Obsidian has a history of making incredible RPGs. Fallout New Vegas, for example, is widely considered to be the best game in the Fallout series. The only good one in my opinion, but I digress. I absolutely love Obsidian, so the announcement that they're working on a brand new IP set in a corporate dystopian sci-fi future got me pretty hyped. Their latest project is going to be called Outer Worlds, and it'll take place in the far-flung future in a star system set on the edge of the galaxy. I saw one writer saying that the style was a marriage between Borderlands, Fallout, and Mass Effect. I'm a little dubious about the Mass Effect comparison, but I can see the obvious inspiration drawn from Fallout and Borderlands. In the trailer, they even brag about having the original Fallout devs along with the creators of Fallout New Vegas on the team, so the art direction was obviously going to be at least somewhat derivative of Fallout. The Borderlands comparison comes from the humor, I think, which I can sort of see, but I don't think the humor in this game will reach Borderlands' unique levels of humor. The Mass Effect comparison, I think, comes from the fact that the game is meant to have a branching narrative, but Fallout New Vegas already had a branching narrative, and I don't think they'll be taking much from Mass Effect in that regard. Obsidian is already known for their in-depth and well-written narratives. The game is also said to have companions who will travel with you and who will speak out if they disagree with your decisions. Companions are already a staple in Obsidian games, though, and it's good to hear that Outer Worlds will carry on the tradition. Pretty much any story can benefit from having characters accompanying you on your adventure so that your narrative isn't trapped in an echo chamber from the singular perspective of your main character. The devs also said that they wanted to make a game in which decisions matter. I always sigh when I hear this. Every game these days seems to want to make decisions that matter. So few devs do it right that it's hard to get excited about this particular feature of the game. They've said that there are multiple endings and your decisions will shape which ending you get. This is such a tired and overdone feature that it hardly has any impact on whether I'll get a game. Sometimes it actually impacts the game negatively if I hear that a dev who has shitty writers is attempting this. Obsidian does have a pretty solid team of writers though, so I think we can assume that the multiple ending system in this game will at least be serviceable, but in my opinion, an unnecessary addition to the game. The ending doesn't matter to me as much as the journey to get there. When decisions affect the narrative of the game, they hardly have an impact on me. What I like to see is when seemingly inconsequential decisions are made to matter to the player. I think that Dishonored is a pretty okay example of this. Giving the grunts walking around the city dialogue that you can overhear has an effect on how you might end up assassinating your target, but it also impacts whether or not you want to kill a particular guard in the mission. If you hear someone talking about their family or a newborn, you're less likely to kill that guy if you don't have to. It subverts that narrative. Decisions that don't really matter to the narrative suddenly matter to the player, and that's important. That has an impact and is just good writing if you ask me. Dishonored does feature a multiple ending system, and whether or not you kill the guard does matter in arbitrary ways to the ending, which I don't like. It's all about execution, and Obsidian has made games where decisions matter in subtle ways before, like KOTOR 2, one of my all-time favorites. I won't spoil the ending, but KOTOR 2 has an extremely unexpected plot twist involving one of the characters, and how much you had that character in your party throughout the game makes a huge difference in how the game ends up. It's a very, very subtle difference, and this decision does matter to me as the player because it affects a character that I've become attached to. So given their history, I'm cautiously optimistic about Obsidian's decision-driven narrative for Outer Worlds. As far as the world goes, the world is said to be much smaller than Fallout New Vegas, so temper your expectations on that front. In an email with Kotaku editor Jason Schreier, Obsidian said that the areas would be open but much smaller and compartmentalized, so think of the way The Witcher 3 did things. The areas you could go were explorable but not seamlessly connected to the rest of the map. That just means that there will be a loading screen in between the areas. Of course, The Witcher's areas were absolutely massive. I mean, even the smallest area is pretty fucking big, so maybe not the best comparison, but the idea's there. Obsidian's compartmentalized areas won't be quite that big, but the system will be similar. The Outer Worlds story is said to also feature 2 planets for you to explore on, so it's still going to have a pretty decent amount of area. Though it'll still probably be dwarfed when compared to games like Fallout New Vegas and Skyrim, which is totally fine with me because it means I won't have to commit an extortionate amount of time to a game to get the full experience. As you play through the game, you're also said to be able to kill almost any NPC in the game. I'm guessing this means children won't be killable, as is the norm in pretty much every game of this type. The developers over at Obsidian said that even the mission-critical NPCs will be killable, so it'll be interesting to see how they progress the narrative if you kill someone who is supposed to deliver the plot hook for the next mission. They have been quoted saying that you can even kill the mad scientist who wakes you up at the beginning of the trailer, so they seem pretty committed to player freedom in this game. Perhaps the most pleasing piece of news surrounding this game is that it won't feature microtransactions of any kind, which is something that is so rare to hear these days that it just pleases me endlessly to get to say it. There will be no premium outfits and no multiplayer. So you buy the game once and you enjoy it for life. There is no news yet on whether or not the game will have any DLC expansions, but if there are, you can bet that those will probably cost. But as long as the game comes out in a playable state and has a complete story from beginning to end, I'm not bothered by whether or not the game will have paid DLC. Outer Worlds is slated to come out sometime in 2019. I'll keep you up to date on any news the game has as it comes forward. Are you excited for this game? Are there any other games coming out this year that you're looking forward to? Personally, Outer Worlds has jumped to the top of my most anticipated games list this year. Let me know what you're looking forward to this year in the comments downstairs, and if you liked the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Make sure to hit that notifications bell so you never miss out on any of my future content. I'm out. Peace!